Howdy. I'm Ben Solak. We're on to NFL draft coverage. Welcome to the play sheet. The opening script: who's wide receiver one? Welcome to the 2024 NFL Draft here on the play sheet. We're going to start walking through the class, and boy howdy, it's a good one. We expect 4 quarterbacks to go in the top 10. That's USC's Caleb Williams, UNC's Drake May, Michigan's JJ McCarthy, and LSU's Jaden Daniels. There's also elite tackle play and a ton of teams that need that tackle help. Notre Dame's Joe Alt, Penn State's Olu Fashanu, Oregon State's Talisi Fuaga, Georgia's Amarius Mims. It's a really, really good top 10, top 15 this year, and that's especially true at wide receiver. There are 3 receivers right now that we think are going to go top 10. That's Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, that Marvin Harrison is Jr. LSU's Malik Nabers, and Washington's Rome Odunze. Now, entering this college football season, and for much of this cycle, Marvin Harrison Jr. has been like the clear wide receiver one. Now, if you follow college football at all, or if you're just like following the draft, you know there's been a ton of good receivers out of Ohio State in recent seasons. Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, all of those guys, and Marvin Harrison Jr. might just be the best of the bunch. Now, that's because like Harrison really dominated, kind of took over the scene in 2022 when he was playing with CJ Stroud. Ohio State went to the college football playoff. He had like 14 touchdowns, 1,200 yards. He was a sensation. He would have been wide receiver one in that class. He was unbelievable. But if you've been following college football at all, or if you know anything about the draft, you also know there have been some good receivers at LSU lately. All right, ever heard of Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson? The next one up for the Tigers is Malik Nabers. And over the course of the 2023 season, Nabers' stock rose so much that he is potentially overtaking Marvin Harrison's kid as wide receiver one. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah was tweeting about this earlier this week, which reflects some of what's been said by The Athletic's Dane Brugler, which reflects some of what's been said by ESPN's Matt Miller. Pretty much everybody over the last couple of months that talks to the league about these prospects is coming to the realization that wide receiver one is not set in stone. It's not emphatically Marvin Harrison. It might be Malik Nabers. Splitting the hairs between these two guys is really challenging, right? The Biletnikoff Award, which is for the nation's best college football receiver, went to Harrison by 1 vote over Nabers, okay? These guys are truly neck and neck. So what are the actual differentiating factors between the two, and who should be wide receiver one? Let's go to play action. All right, we're gonna start with Harrison, because that's kind of where this wide receiver cycle began. There's no doubt in my mind that Harrison Jr. is the best route runner in this class. The better route runner than Nabers, better route runner than everybody, which is kind of like silly Billy because he's 6'4", 210. Okay, and those guys are not supposed to be the best route runners, but Harrison Jr. is. And we can go back to 2022 film when he was playing with CJ Stroud to see some like really elite stuff. But in 2023, when Kyle McCord was the quarterback there, and McCord wasn't super great, Harrison Jr. would just like solve a lot of problems to the Ohio State offense by just being an elite separator in the short areas. All right, this is 2022 Ohio State against Toledo. You're saying, Ben, why are you showing me Toledo film? It's because Marvin Harrison is lined up against Quinion Mitchell, who's going to be probably the first corner, maybe second corner, probably the first corner off the board in the 2024 NFL Draft. This is a first-round player, is a good prospect, locked up a lot of players, did not lock up Marvin Harrison Jr. This is going to look like it's like a glance that's working right to the back, the back of the end zone here. And then after the in break, Harrison's going to snap this off and get back to that front pylon. He's got to work through contact and run this route with timing. Also a huge change of direction again for a 6'4" player. This is a big, tall young man. Get through contact, explode to that pylon, and then make that catch. I want to show you that catch from the broadcast angle. Quinion with a fistful of jersey out of the break. Marvin addressed the football above the face mask. Would be good on Sunday, 2 feet down. He doesn't catch it clean, which Marvin catches most things clean. This doesn't bother me too much. So, he doesn't secure it perfectly, but he re-grabs it while still getting the foot down in bounds and then survives the ground. It's impressive stuff. The cuts that Marvin's able to achieve, the change of direction at his size, both on line of scrimmage here against press, like we're about to see, and then also when he's breaking off routes, it's not generational. We throw that around too easily. It's not unprecedented. That's too far. But it's the sort of nonsense we just haven't seen in a while. Like this is the reason why he gets these AJ Green comparisons is because at 6'4", he's running routes. Like he's going to run here an isolation out-breaking route. This route's going to be an inside release, and then it's going to break into the sideline. You just don't see in college receivers get these routes. Like college teams don't run isolation routes to break out because you don't have receivers that can pull it off, and then quarterbacks also who can pull it off. It's just It's just not normal stuff. So he's press coverage here against Kalen King. Kalen King's a Senior Bowl corner, by the way. Again, this is NFL player. Get him inside, work through contact. Again, I mean, he is objectively getting held at the top of this route right here. Right? I mean, they're just getting yanked. He needs the play strength to get through it. Look at the bend as well. Look at, he's able to get his ankles that far underneath him so he can explode into the sideline and then quick head turn around and quick catch. Like, this is just not usual. This is not regular stuff. One more against King because it just looks so easy. Okay, this is a 6'4", 208-pound player in the slot running a slant, and it looks so pedestrian. It is not pedestrian. All right, get that outside step, generate the inside leverage, head to King. See how he puts his head on King right now, making you think, hey, potentially I'm working this way, potentially I'm working on this, and then he's just going to snap to the slant, right? He's going to snap to the slant. Watch how quickly he gets his head around and adjusts to a bad ball. That right there, that's like 5'11", 185-pound behavior. And the fact that he has that in his body is ludicrous. Now, I hear what you're saying. All right, I hear your little complaints. Oh, Ben, you're the best wide receiver prospect of Ohio State. Top 10 pick. You show me slants. Show me gains of 9 yards. Yes, okay, because they're crazy and they're incredible. But if you want to see some explosives, all right, we can put on the Malik Nabers tape. Okay, so Ohio State, Marvin Harrison. He's breaking routes and steps and there's timing and landmarks. LSU with Malik Nabers. We're going to run a slot fade, baby. And we got free access, right? We're in the slot, so we get this cushion. You're going to run at this man, get to his outside shoulder, and just beat him to the pylon, right? This is the way that we get to the 9 route without having to run the 9 route against press. We get to run the 9 route now, but without press coverage because we're running it against the slot defender. And then this player will run, he'll hitch, he'll run under, he'll do a ton of different stuff, but they're just leaving him flat, leaving him underneath so they can run this slot fade. They do this with Nabers. Like I swear, like Nabers had 500 touchdowns on slot fades this year. Why? Because he has the runaway ability. Look at how fast he gets in this stem, dude. This is so dumb. Just watch how quickly he gets upfield. It's the steps off the line that just show you just how ridiculously explosive this guy's. And then he's already on top. Like at this point, like okay, like yeah, the corner's upfield, but still you're gonna beat him to the pylon. What I want you to watch is the technique at the catch point. All right, because instead of overrunning the ball, which he does sometimes, but instead of overrunning the ball and then having to turn back to it and catch it like this on your face mask, which lets the corner get back into the play, he's going to slow down to keep his body between the cornerback behind him and the catch point, which is going to be in front of him. So watch how he addresses the ball here on this touchdown. Tracks it, finds it, slows down, and then catches it on his chest. This might be more natural, this might be more challenging, but to do this protects the catch point from that cornerback. And so that is good wide receiver technique there. Secure the touchdown, get 6. Okay, if you're going to be a good downfield receiver, a vertical threat like Nabers is, you need more than just speed. Let's be very clear. Nabers has ludicrous speed. All right? He's got gears on gears. He can accelerate like crazy, but you also need the ancillary traits. You need the ball tracking, you need the catch through contact. Nabers has this great example of it. Mississippi State up against this corner. He has beaten this corner already on this game on a double move where it looks like he's going to hitch, but all he does is really stop his feet and then he explodes vertically. He's already burned this guy on it. And so they protect this corner this time on the double move. They're going to let him bail, all right? Look how fast he is off the line. There's the double move right there. And look, the corner stays on top of it, right? So it's a great route. It's good acceleration, but the corner's in good position. He's seen this route before. Ball's already in the air. The Malik Nabers is looking for the ball right now, and as he sees it in the air, he's thinking to himself, "That looks like it's coming a little bit flat." So he slows himself a little bit. He's got his eyes up for the ball right now, and this corner can only look at Nabers. He can only read Malik. He's got his back to the ball. So seeing Nabers slow down, seeing Nabers look for the ball, he's like, "Oh shoot, the ball's coming. Let me go get connected. Let me go become an impediment to the catch point." And then Nabers just blows right by him. That looks human. It's not human. This moment of acceleration right here. No. You should not be able from this position, right? This corner has like 1.5 yards cushion on you. By the time Nabers gets like 15 further yards down the field, Nabers is on top of him. You should not be able to do this. And then he makes the catch through contact, right? That corner has his hands in the pocket. We can go and see this end zone view. Okay, so Daniel's about to throw this. Watch the corner fall asleep right here a little bit, right? He slows down. Nabers fights his hands off, gets on top of him, and then corner's got his arm in that catch point. and Nabers is still going to make this catch. So we have the ball tracking, the acceleration, and then the catch through contact. Go ahead and celebrate, young man. I mean, that's a wrap right there. Now, one complaint that I do have with Nabers, that for me, like Marvin Harrison is the better prospect. He's wide receiver 1 for me. Nabers is great. One complaint that I do have is like route running wise, he kind of is just making stuff up as he goes. This is another slot fade. He's on the safety here in Malachi Moore. You don't need to be messing around with all that junk right there. Like that doesn't help you, because you are not really ever in this offense, like at least not very often, running this or this. And even if you are, like, he's not going to be super scared of that. And so like the foot fire here doesn't really help me. The whole point is that you have insane speed and you have gears, right? So just get upfield and go. And because he does this, and then he has to try to run away from contact, lean away from it, he ends up being too far into the sideline on this route. Like, look at how condensed this throw window is right here, versus if you just kind of got upfield on it fast, bang, 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 and then got just like on the bottom of the numbers, there'd just be more room for Jaden to deliver this football, right? If you get an extra yard and a half of width, then it just makes this throw a lot easier. In the NFL, we call this maintaining the red line, right? There's like an imaginary red line that goes right there, and you want to make sure you don't lose that vertical line. You want to keep that space into the sideline. Now, the reason I bring this play up is because, like, all right, this isn't perfect. It could be a better route. You can use your speed better, but the catch through contact with Malik Nabers, man, still makes the grab up against the sideline. End zone view, drop back. Daniels is throwing this thing every day of the week, right? When you're one-on-one. And then again, hand in the catch point. Nabers wins it on the sideline, gets a foot down. Like he can run away from guys, but then also when he doesn't run away from guys, he can still make catches in muddied catch points. I think that's a really, really big deal for him. So it's a little bit funny between Harrison Jr. and Nabers, because if you strip the names away, and I just gave you, hey, like there's a 6'4", 208-pound receiver in college, and there's a 6', 200-pound receiver in college. Kind of who's doing what? Inherently, you'd be like, okay, the 6'4", 210 guy, he's used vertically, he's used down the field, he's used on all these deep routes. The 6', 200-pound guy, he's probably like the route runner and the separator, the underneath guy, and just those roles are flipped between these two because of the nature of the offenses they played in, what they were asked to do, but then also both have such unique skill sets. And the nice thing is that if you round out the rough edges for both players, you can really see like very, very, very high ceilings for both, because since they have skill sets that don't like match or aren't really predicted by their body types, they can become like really complete players. So now it becomes a question of, what have you seen each of them do? It becomes a question of degrees of certainty, right? How round really are these games? How high is the floor? How certain are you in the evaluations? Because both clearly have roles, both clearly are excellent in what they do. But with Harrison, who again, like I prefer Harrison just a little bit. I've seen him do the Malik Nabers stuff, all right? That double move against Mississippi State, that big long catch. Yeah, I've seen Marvin Harrison do that, all right? 2023 against Michigan State, we're in the same position, right? We're going to get bail coverage on the outside. We're going to get this little looking double move, right? He gets that corner to start to lean in a little bit. Corner's thinking, all right, this route's coming here, this route's coming here. Get the corner to lean in a little bit, explode upfield on him, and then go find this ball through contact, make a catch against the sideline. I have seen Harrison Jr. do the things emphatically that Malik Nabers can do, and that you'd expect a 6'4", 210-pound guy to do. And with Nabers, I'm very confident there's a guy who can run elite routes and beat press coverage, win in the short area quickness. I'm confident he's in there. I just haven't seen him as much as I've seen Marvin Harrison just do everything you could possibly ask a wide receiver to do. Nabers' role was a little bit more siloed at LSU, and some of that had to do with like playing with other elite receivers, and like their offense was generally incredible. But in general, like I have fewer reps against press, and I don't have as many wins against press coverage as I would see on Marvin Harrison film. And listen, that's a good ball right there by Jaden Daniels, right? There's an opportunity here to win this catch, even against this tight coverage on the back shoulder up against the end line. Now, this ends up being out of bounds. It's incomplete. It's not a touchdown. And this is a good win to the inside here, but this is the sort of route, man, that I expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to win at a bigger size, too, with a bigger catch radius. And Nabers here just struggles with the physicality, gets pushed up against the end line, and again, loses a little bit of that space you'd like to see an elite receiver give you. And so it's pick and nits. Like Harrison's my wide receiver 1. Nabers is an elite player. That you could watch this rep and feel totally fine with it. But for me, I'm just a little bit more confident in what I get from Harrison Jr. as opposed to what I get from Nabers. I cannot stress enough how like not wrong you can go with any of the top 3 receivers. We talked about Marv versus Nabers, because that's kind of the NFL conversation right now. I personally like Washington's Rome Odunze. Oh, I'll tell you something about a Rome Odunze. It's a good ball player right there. I personally would take him above Nabers. But again, it's very different roles. And so when it comes to receiver play, you have to understand, what are you looking for? What are you prioritizing? Can this guy be a wide receiver 1 for you, wide receiver 2 for you, wide receiver 1B? Is your quarterback a downfield quarterback? Is he a quick game quarterback? Is he a contested catch quarterback? There's so much that goes into splitting the hairs between these top guys. But we did an episode like way back in 2022, all right, about how there's never going to be a bad wide receiver class again, because there's just so many dudes with such great athleticism getting so many reps at the college level now. And Marv, Nabers, and Odunze, and everybody else afterwards, Lad McConkey, and Adonai Mitchell, and Ricky Pearsall, and Xavier Leggett, all these guys prove is that the wide receiver classes are always rife with talent. If you need a guy, you can find a guy, and that's certainly true at the top this year. And that'll do it for us here on the Play Sheet. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Marvin Harrison for having a son, naming him Marv, and then being 6'4" and even better than his pops was maybe. But thank you to Court McConnell for producing the episode. Appreciate you watching. We're going to be doing NFL draft scouting breakdowns like a ton of players. So make sure you subscribe to the new channel, watch the shows, and enjoy.